Hello, my name is Wilson Smart, and this is my family tree. This is a story mostly of white privilege. It's a story about how 5 generations ago, my descendants spoke English and owned land, which unsurprisingly was very beneficial to the generations that followed. I have the most information about this part of the family tree, so I'm going to start at the bottom, or 5 generations ago, and then work my way towards me. And be focusing mostly here at first, and then expanding outwards as we go along. Um, but I want to start with John Webb. So he is from Wilson, North Carolina, and he had a lot of land and was able to start a tobacco business. This is during and pre-Civil War, so he was probably having the benefit of slave labor as well. Um, he started a successful business that he passed on to his son William, who was able to leverage it into an even more successful business. So that was a great start for these guys. Also, Archibald Johnson is somebody who looms very large in my family. He's from Scotland County, North Carolina, and actually, we still own the land 5 generations later, and are still visiting the property that he used to live at um, near the Lumber River. So that's somewhere where a lot of my family members go and congregate. We all have these little houses near the river. The family tree is split off into all these different directions at this point, so it's a very random assortment of people. But unsurprisingly, they're all still pretty privileged individuals, and I think it probably stems from the fact that they have had descendants who were landowning kind of gentry type of people. Archibald was a very successful newspaper editor, whose son was even more successful than him, Gerald Johnson. Um, but his son was not my direct descendant. His daughter Ella was. So Ella married William, and moved to Wilson, where they had the tobacco business. Um, they eventually had John Webb, who was my grandpa. John Webb went to the University of North Carolina, just like his dad did, and then went to Columbia Law School. He was pretty liberal for the time. He was very pro civil rights. He was very pro integration, and it was really important to him that his kids went to the public school, the integrated public school, which may not seem like something that's that impressive. But when you compare him to my other grandpa, who was against integration and very much took part in the white flight, it makes me more proud of my grandpa John. Roy, apart from the not being so into the integration idea, was, in my opinion, a great guy. He went to Duke University. He worked in sales. He had 5 kids. Um, both my grandmas went to college, and I think even my great grandmas all went to college, which is pretty impressive for the time. That they felt the need to be educated. I think they also, my grandmas, from my conversations with them, both seemed kind of dissatisfied with being housewives. Would have probably much preferred to have careers because they were both very sharp ladies, but that just wasn't an opportunity that was available to them at the time. Um, John and Carolyn ended up having my mom, who went to UNC undergrad. She works in healthcare management and is very successful. She's the breadwinner for our family. Uh, Roy and Florence, they had my dad, who went to boarding school for high school, went to NC State, and became a cartoonist slash graphic artist. He worked for Coors, which is why we moved out to Colorado right before I was born, and that's where I was born and raised, Colorado. Um, but then I went back to the South for college. I went to the College of Charleston, and now I'm pursuing my master's at UGA. So that is the story of my family tree. I'm sorry I didn't talk as much about these people, but you can assume that they, again, had land, spoke English, and then were able to leverage that land into successful careers for themselves. And that's the story. Hope it wasn't too boring. All right, thank you.